Okay, Bill of Rights na po tayo, no? So dito na tayo talaga sa Constitu. Ngayon, mga ilang tips ko, no, bago tayo magsimula sa Bill of Rights. Tandaan nyo, sa Bill of Rights po, karamihan dito, mga requisites like ito, no? Naka-flash ngayon sa screen, requisites ng valid warrant. Ganyan normally mga paraan para makasagot tayo sa Article 3, no? Hindi siya masyadong hindi siya masyadong puro case lagi nagbabasa kayo ng facts. More on siya, analysis talaga. Ilang beses ko nang sinasabi sa inyo. So ito, no, 99 pages lang siya approximately, pwedeng dumami, pwedeng kumonte. Buong Bill of Rights na to. No, mas mahaba yung yung Consti 1 kumpara sa Consti 2. Kasi yung Consti 2, as I said, more on analysis. Okay, so let's start, no? So, tandaan natin, ang Bill of Rights po, it governs the relationship of a person to the state, no? So tandaan po natin, state versus person ito. Okay? It does not apply as a general rule sa private relations. Okay? The Bill of Rights does not govern relationship between individuals. It cannot be invoked against the acts of private individuals. Kung gusto mo, may kasalanan sa iyo yung isang private individual, criminal, civil, administrative, mga ganyan. Pero hindi po Bill of Rights. Okay? However, meron po mga exceptional circumstances like ito pong dalawa na nakita ko, no? However, the court allowed the invocation of the right to privacy of communication by the husband against the wife. So, ano po ba nangyari sa kaso na to? The documents gathered from the clinic without his consent shall be inadmissible in evidence. So, basically, ang nangyayari kasi dito, uh, if I remember correctly sa Zulueta case, suspected cheater, no, yung husband. So, ngayon, naghalughog yung wife dun sa gamit nung husband sa clinic, nakakita ng evidence. So it's just that inadmissible the evidence kasi nga the right to privacy of the husband was violated. Okay? Another instance po, no? Ito, marami ng beses na in-apply to, hindi lang to isang kaso, paulit-ulit po ito, no, sa lahat ng actually sa lahat ng mga freedom of speech ng estudyante sa isang eskwelahan. No, kasi ang hirap po, no, marami tayong balitang nakikita, kapag nagsalita yung isang estudyante laban sa eskwelahan, di ba minsan alam naman natin, tinatanggal sa eskwelahan, ini-expel, di ba, dinidismiss, kung honor, hindi binibigay yung medal, mga ganyang bagay, no? However, ito sabi sa court, sa Malabanan versus Sacramento, the court ruled that the students do not shed their constitutional rights to freedom of speech or expression at the schoolhouse gate. So ano pa yung mga nangyayari sa mga kaso? No? Sabihin natin, expulsion naging penalty. Pero nag-exercise lang naman ng freedom of speech yung estudyante. Baka masyadong excessive yung expulsion. So, kung nagiging ruling po ng court dyan, gawin na lang nating suspension, no? 1 week suspension, 3 day suspension, instead na expel natin yung estudyante. So, nagkakaroon po ng ruling talaga against the educational institution, whether private or state university. Okay? Yan po yung isang uh, another instance no kung saan private relations no like uh, corporation, 'di ba? Private corporation ng isang eskwelahan. Laban sa student, private individual, 'di ba? Nagkaaroon po ng application yung Bill of Rights. Pero sa general rule po, hindi nag-a-apply yung Bill of Rights. Like halimbawa, pumasok kayo ng mall, 'di ba? Tinusok yung bag nyo, 'di ba? Pwede ba tayo mag-refuse? O can we say na nung pagkatusok ng bag natin sa mall, binayolate ba yung right to privacy natin? Hindi. Binayolate ba yung right to unreasonable searches and seizures natin? Hindi. Kasi nga, hindi po nag-a-apply ang Bill of Rights sa private relations. Private corporation yung mall, private individual ka, hindi mo pwedeng gamitin yung Bill of Rights for that. Okay? In the case of De La Cruz versus People, no, involving civilian port personnel, okay? Conducting security checks, no? The Supreme Court thoroughly discussed that while the Bill of Rights generally cannot be invoked against the acts of private individuals, the same may nevertheless be applicable if such individuals act under the color of a state-related function. So in this case, para di siya naging part of the government kasi. 'Di ba? Even if sabihin natin civilian port personnel, 'di ba? Pwede nating sabihin ay private individuals 'yan, 'di ba? Pero kung if they act under the color of a state-related function, sabihin natin, 'di ba, ports 'yan. Kung in-outsource man ng gobyerno yung operations ng ports, yung pag-handle, no, yung port operation doon, pwede natin sabihin may state-related function. Okay? So, covered pa rin siya ng Bill of Rights. Covered pa rin siya ng right against unreasonable searches and seizures. Okay? As example, ito pa another example of this one, yung state-related function na tinatawag. The acts of the Bantay Bayan of Makati City. or any barangay-based or other volunteer organization in the nature of watch groups. No, basically, hindi sila tanod. Hindi rin sila bata ni Kapitan. Hindi sila empleyado ni Kapitan. Basically, neighborhood watch lang sila. Okay? Basically, volunteer. No? Pero, ng barangay, no, sa Makati, hindi sila tanod. Kasi pag sinabi mong tanod, alam naman nating, ano yan eh, actually sa revised penal code, di ba, agent of a person in authority ang tanod. So, walang problema ron. Okay? Paano pag watch? Neighborhood watch lang. No? Sabi po ng court, may color of a state-related function ulit. Okay? So, dahil may color of a state-related function, hindi pa rin natin pwedeng sabihin, hindi applicable yung Bill of Rights. So, the Bill of Rights will apply in this case. Miguel versus People, no? State-related kasi yung may color of a state-related function. Tandaan nyo yan. Okay? So, hindi pa rin natin pwedeng sabihin, it's purely private yung relationship, no? Kasi merong bahid ng public yung ano eh, no? Yung, well, may state-related function, no? You get the point. Okay? Next, no? Ito pa, no? Sabihin natin, private courier. Binuksan yung parcel. Pagbukas ng parcel, drugs ang laman. Later on, pinatawag syempre, nung private courier, nagpatawag na NBI, ipacheck ito, drugs pala, naging positive for drugs yung nando sa parcel. Tanong, was the right against unreasonable searches and seizures violated? No, it was not. Kasi yung pagbukas ng parcel, hindi po ginawa ng public officer. It was made by the employee of a private company, of the private courier. So, hindi po natin pwedeng invoke yung Bill of Rights. Ano po ang magiging resulta nun? Pwede natin sabihin, admissible in evidence yung na-seize na drugs, assuming na na-follow yung chain of custody. Diba? Under the Comprehensive Dangerous Drugs Act as amended. Assuming na na-follow, pag na-follow yan, admissible in evidence yun kahit na walang warrant yung pagkakabukas ng parcel kasi hindi naman yung NBI, hindi naman yung pulis na nagbukas eh. Private person. Diba? So, hindi po natin pwedeng invoke ang Bill of Rights. So, People versus Marty, landmark case. Okay? Move tayo sa ano na, no, sa Section 1 proper na, no, due process of law saka equal protection clause. So, alam naman natin ang due process of law, okay, pakibasa na lang yan, life, liberty, property. Alam naman natin na may two kinds of due process. Substantive at saka procedural. Kung matatanong tayo sa bar, saan tayo matatanong probably? Sa substantive. Why? Kasi ano po ito, no, bago ko itakil itong substantive, tandaan nyo to, may relation po siya sa police power. Ilang beses ko sinasabi yan. Depende kung paano kayong tatanungin. Pag tinanong kayo ng was the right to due process violated, requisites of substantive due process ang gagamitin nyo. Pag naman tinanong kayo, was there an invalid exercise of police power? Lawful subject, lawful means. Depende. Pero sinasabi ko lang sa inyo, mas madalas na natatanong. Kasi nga, fundamental power of the state, tapos due process, they combine. Okay? Sige, basahin natin, no? So, publication of laws is part of substantive due process. O, di ba? That's another. Tanyada versus Tovera. Okay, so, pag hindi pinablish ang law, hindi siya pwedeng mag-take effect. Why? Kasi substantive due process siya. Okay, doon na tayo sa requisites of substantive due process, no? Meron pa ako nung law student pa ako, talagang inilagay ko na rin dito. Naglalagay ako ng abbreviation before, pero napansin ko ngayong lawyer na ako, hindi siya ganun ka-effective, no? Mas maganda talaga if you actually understand what you're reading, no? Yung ano bonus na lang yan kung mag-abbreviation ka man. And kung ayaw mo mag-abbreviation, you can do away with it. For example, no, requisites of substantive due process, ano-ano yung mga requisites? 5. 6, I'm sorry. It must not contravene the Constitution. It must not be oppressive. It must not be discriminatory. It must not be unreasonable. It must not prohibit but may regulate trade. Di ba napansin nyo? Kaya ako sinasabi na para siyang police power. Kasi ano, may salitang regulate. Alam nyo naman ang regulate, mo synonymous yan sa police power. Power to regulate, police power. Kaya sabi ko sa inyo, depende kung paano kayong tatanungin. Always be careful. Okay? Always be careful paano kayong tatanungin. Okay? So, it must be general and consistent in public policy. Ito lang ang sabihin ko sa inyo. Itong tatlo na ito, para pare-pareho lang na halos na adjectives yan eh. Not oppressive, not discriminatory, not unreasonable. Di ba? Pare-pareho lang din yan halos na, na adjectives eh. No? So, ibig sabihin, kung naalala nyo oppressive, tatlo na agad ang maalala nyo. Oppressive, unreasonable, discriminatory. O di tatlo na. Tatlo na lang ang kailangan yung kabisaduhin. Hindi dapat siya it does not contravene the Constitution or any law. It must not prohibit but may regulate trade. O, di ba? Tapos yung isa, must be consistent with public policy. O, actually, itong public policy, pwede nyo i-combine yan sa Constitution, sa statute, di ba? Constitution, law, public policy. O, di ba? Di isa na lang. Yan ang sabi ko sa inyo, no? Instead of, actually, nilagay ko na rin dito, no? Instead of making abbreviations, mas maganda if you make sense of things. Hindi mo talaga makakalimutan. Like ako ngayon, no, ngayon ko lang siya binabalikan ulit. Naalala ko agad na substantive truth due process. Yun yung mga may dialogue na oppressive and so on. Okay? Especially pag nakahanap ka pa ng example illustrating these requisites, talagang tatatak siya sa isip nyo, hindi pwedeng hindi. Okay, so uli nilay ko rito sa reviewer, no? So always pay attention to the question. The question can ask you about police power or about substantive due process. No? Either way, no? Ang isang law pwedeng maging invalid dahil invalid exercise of police power siya or dahil it violated the substantive due process. Pakikita ko sa inyo example, no? Anyway, ito pala, no? Bago tayo magpunta sa example, itong ano na to, no? Yung substantive due process na yan. Same yung requisites niyan. Ito, at saka yung what are the requisites for a valid ordinance. Mapapansin niyo yung basahin niyo. Pareho yung requisites. No? How can there be a valid ordinance? Yan din ang gagamitin. It must not contravene the Constitution or any statute and so on. Okay? So, ang daming, di ba? Ang daming branches pero ito lang na ito yung requisites. No? Okay. Sige. Itong test of juridical scrutiny. Okay. Move muna tayo sa example ko. No? Paano natin pwedeng i-apply yung police power? Paano natin pwedeng i-apply yung substantive due process? Okay? The mayor of Davao City. Ito pala. Alay ko sa taas. Okay. Ayan. Move tayo. The mayor of Davao City approved an ordinance imposing a ban against aerial spraying of pesticides, no? Sabi sa ordinance, the ban will take effect 3 months after the publication of the ordinance in the newspaper of general circulation. Okay. So, ngayon, nag-file po ng petition yung mga agricultural corporations and associations alleging that the ordinance violated the right to due process. Bakit daw? They contended that the ban was oppressive because 3 months was not enough to shift from aerial spraying to another method of spraying pesticides. No? Ang tanong ko dito, was the right to due process of the petitioners violated? Dahil yan po ang tanong, ang i-invoke natin na requisites yung not oppressive, not unreasonable, not prohibit, but may regulate trade, and so on. Pero ito muna, no? Wala dito, no? Kasi hindi ko nilagay dito yung police power para di kayo malito. Pero i-invoke natin ngayon. Paano pag ang tanong is, was this an invalid exercise of police power? Ang sagot dyan is yes. It was an invalid exercise of police power. Why? Kasi nga, dalawang requisites, lawful subject, lawful means. O, ano po yung lawful subject dito? What's the interest of the public that require the inference of the state in this case? Public health. No, kasi baka because aerial spraying will, paano ba? Will, ano ba tawag dyan? Will damage the lung, sabihin natin. No? I'm not sure naman. Pero yun ang dialogue dyan sa case na yan. Di ba? Will damage the health of farmers and so on. Di ba? So public health siya at saka public welfare. Ngayon, ito bang ban na magte-take effect 3 months after the publication, is this reasonably necessary to accomplish this purpose of promoting the public health, promoting the public welfare? Reasonably necessary ba siya? Unduly oppressive ba siya? The answer is yes. May lawful subject pero walang lawful means. Kasi nga it's not reasonable. 3 buwan lang magpapalit tayo ng spraying method from A to B. Paano ang gagawin yun? Ang laki-laki ng ektarya, di ba, ng mga lupa. At the same time, mahal yan. Di ba? At the same time, it's unduly oppressive. Oppressive siya sa mga magsasaka na nag-adapt sa ganung type of spraying. Oh, in that sense, it's an invalid exercise of police power. Tingnan natin kung ano sagot dito sa was the right to due process violated. The right to due process was violated. Yes. In order to declare an ordinance as a valid piece of local legislation, it must also comply with the following substantive requisites. O, di ba? Ordinance. Same requisites. Okay? Actually, wag na nating ilagay na ganito, no? The same are the requisites to. Basta pag nakakita nyo na lang na was the right to due process violated, follow this one. Okay? Follow this one. Ito mga requisites na to, no? Okay. So, ano sabi dyan? It must not contravene the Constitution, not oppressive, not discriminatory, may regulate trade, must be consistent with public policy, must not be unreasonable. Okay. In this case, the ordinance is unreasonable and oppressive. It was impossible to shift from aerial spraying to another method within 3 months because of the vast area of the affected plantations and the resources required for the shift. Diba? Thus, it violates the due process clause under Section 1. So nakita nyo, parehong invalid, pero depende sa tanong, nag-iba yung sagot nyo. Yan ang gusto ko i-point out. Pag tinanong kayo ng was due process violated, right to due process violated, huwag kayong sasagot ng requisites ng police power. That's not responsive to the question. Tandaan nyo yan. Okay? Pag ginamitan nyo ng police power yung was the due process clause violated, automatic partial points kayo. Kahit pareho ang tumbok, 'di ba? Kasi parang similar lang naman sila eh. 'Di ba? How would you know if something is oppressive? Eh di it's not reasonable. Reasonably necessary to accomplish the purpose. Sa lawful means 'yun, 'di ba? Basically, 'di ba, kung mapapansin nyo, parang iniba lang yung packaging, pero pareho yung mga adjectives. Sabi doon, the means employed, 'di ba? The methods used, 'di ba, by the state were reasonably necessary to accomplish the purpose. And this method must not be unduly oppressive upon individuals. Eh di pareho lang din sa requisites ng, di ba, substantive due process, not oppressive, not unreasonable. O di ba? Pero nag-iba ang sagot dahil sa iba yung tinanong sa inyo. Okay. Ngayon, meron tayo dito, no, nilagay ko rito yung strict tests of judicial scrutiny in relation to substantive due process. Ito, another pampagulo, no? Pampagulo para sa ating lahat, no? Ngayon kasi, ito, no, sa ibang mga kaso ng Supreme Court, instead of using itong 6 requisites na to, ginagamit po itong strict scrutiny, immediate scrutiny, at saka yung rational basis, no? Test to determine if the due process clause was violated. Matandaan yan, ulitin ko ha. Minsan-minsan po, no, depende kung ano gusto ng court, no? Minsan na ginagamit nila 5 requisites to determine if the due process clause was violated or itong tests na to. Normally po, ang ini-invoke sa kaso, strict scrutiny. Why? Kasi syempre, kung hindi naman matindi, no? Basically, no? Real talk na lang tayo. Kung hindi naman matindi yung violation na nangyari, bakit naman magka-file pa ng petition? At yung pong strict scrutiny, this is the applicable test kapag fundamental rights are violated. Basically, rights under the Constitution, yung Article 3. If na-violate yan, strict scrutiny almost always. Ay, kailan ba nagka-file ng petition ng tao? Kailan nagpa-file? Di ba? Pag na-violate yung rights nila under the Bill of Rights. Oh, di po, kaya almost always kung mapapansin nyo sa cases, puro strict scrutiny ginagamit ng Supreme Court. So tandaan nyo yan. Depende. Pag tinanong kayo, was substantive due process violated? Ang isip nyo dapat dyan, i-invoke nyo yung 5 requisites. Okay. Pero pag ang tanong sa inyo is, ganito yan eh, pag nagsagot naman ako ng mga past bar questions, no, ang unang tanong sa inyo dyan, explain the 3 tests. Yan. Of judicial scrutiny. O, yan. What are the 3 tests of judicial scrutiny and explain? O, yan yung una sa sub-question A. And then B, tatanungin kayo, was due process violated? Pag ganun po ang tanungan, ang sagot nyo dapat, strict scrutiny. Kasi implied na eh, kaya nga sub-question A, ganun eh. That tells you, based on the question, na dapat ang gamitin mo to check kung na-violate yung due process is itong tests na to. Pero kung walang ganun, ako sa inyo, ito i-invoke nyo kasi hindi na ginagamit ang Supreme Court sa mga kaso. Like ito nga sa Mosqueda case, viral, laging content creator na landmark case yan kasi. Okay, yung Mosqueda case na yan. Okay? Landmark siya. At ito ginamit, no? So, if silent yung tanong, no, hindi naman nag-i-imply na dapat strict scrutiny ang gamitin mo, use this one. Yung 5, 6 requisites na to. Okay? Pag ini-imply na ang gamitin mo yung test, gamitin mo yung test. No? With that being said, let's go to the tests. By the way, ito palang test na to, no? Nakakatuwa, ginagamit to sa maraming clauses sa Bill of Rights. Ginagamit tong test na to sa freedom of speech. Ginagamit to sa freedom of religion. Ginagamit din yan sa equal protection clause. So, laging yung strict scrutiny test na yan. No? Kaya nga, ang opinion ko nga, no, nung nag-aaral pa ako, nung inaayos ko sa isip ko yung Constitu, para tumaas ang grade mo, it's just about organizing your thoughts. Structuring, making a structure for everything. Kasi ang hirap, nagtatapon, no, nagbabato lagi ng principles yung cases sa atin. Ang job natin is just not only to read them. Kailangan natin i-structure siya properly para sa isip natin buo. No, meron tayong puzzle na nabuo. Yan ang problem sa Consti kasi nga ang Consti is heavy in cases. Our job is to simplify everything. Okay, yan ang trick para gumaling tayo sa Constitutional Law 2, no, sa Bill of Rights. Ganun ang style dapat. So like this one, nakakalito talaga yan kasi yung strict scrutiny yan, lagi sumusulpot yan. Hindi lang sa due process, nasa equal protection, nasa freedom of expression, nasa freedom of religion pa. Baka may na-miss out pa ako, no? Na right. Pero laging sumusulpot yan. Anyway, so without further ado, let's tackle ito muna. When is the strict scrutiny test applied? In intermediate scrutiny, rational basis, no? Strict scrutiny test applies when it interferes with fundamental rights. Okay? Or burdens suspect classes such as protection of public health and safety, regulation of violent crime, the requirement of national security and military necessity, and respect for fundamental rights. Basically, ayan, note, this is the, hindi pala, ayusin natin. This test is usually applied by the court, no? Since, because laws, no, are often challenged, no? Because the constitutionality, buuin natin, the constitutionality of laws. Mali ata yun. Okay. Constitutionality of laws is often challenged when fundamental rights are violated. Di ba? Kung hindi naman na-violate ang fundamental rights ng tao, normally, hindi naman mag-aaksaya ng resources yan, di ba? Para mag-file ng petition. Di ba? Mag-oral argument ka pa sa Supreme Court. So, normally po talaga strict scrutiny kasi nga, it interferes with the fundamental rights. Okay? When does the intermediate scrutiny test apply? It applies when the issue does not involve suspect classes or fundamental rights such as gender or legitimacy. No, like yung rights of yun, LGBTQ. No, natanong na yan, bar question siya, no? So ang tanong doon, explain yung tatlong tests of judicial scrutiny, that sub question A, and then yung B, what test will apply in this case? Something like that yung tanong. I forgot ko anong year pero sinagutan ko siya. Ang sagot doon is intermediate scrutiny test ang mag-a-apply because it involves an issue about gender. Okay? Rational basis applies to all other subjects not covered by the first two tests. So masyado na siyang madalang na natatanong. Kasi nga, ulitin ko, isipin niyo strict scrutiny tayo mga kapatid. Okay? So, strict scrutiny test, ano yung tatlong requisites, no? Dalawa pala, I'm sorry. There must be a compelling state interest and the means used is the least restrictive means. To protect such interest or the means chosen is narrowly tailored. Tip lang sa inyo ha. I-compare natin yung requisites na to at saka yung requisites ng police power. Tingnan nyo, pareho lang din. Hindi naman pareho similar. Ano yung lawful subject? The interest of the public requires the interference of the state. Ano yung nakasulat sa first requisite ng strict scrutiny test? There must be a compelling state interest. Ano pinagkaiba yung salitang compelling lang? Isa, interest of the public. Ito naman, state interest. Di ba? O, next tayo. Ano yung sa lawful means? The means employed must be reasonably necessary to accomplish the purpose. Di ba? And This must not be unduly oppressive towards individuals. Tingnan nyo to. Reasonably necessary, dito naman, least restrictive means. Di ba? Reasonably necessary, ito naman, least restrictive. Eh di similar. Tapos isa, means employed, ito naman, means lang, means to protect. Oh, accomplish, ito naman, to protect such interest. Basically, parang kinukuha, di ba? The means employed, ito isa, the means used is the least restrictive means. Isa naman, reasonably necessary. Di ba? Parang pareho talaga. Okay? Pero similar lang. Pero ako sa inyo, depende, no? Kung anong test yung pinapa-apply sa inyo ng Supreme, ng bar exam. Kayo na bahala, ano piliin nyo. Okay? So, always check the question properly. What the question asks from you. No? So, ayan, sinasabi ko na sa inyo yung mga bala nyo. Tapos next ito, no? Or the means chosen is narrowly tailored to accomplish the interest. Ibig sabihin, dapat nakafocus lang dun sa interest. Ano yung sa lawful means? Unduly oppressive towards individuals. Eh, di parang same lang. Narrowly tailored, not unduly oppressive. Di ba? Ano eh, parang napansin ko, kailangan merong ano eh, yung tawag dyan, yung pattern recognition na tinatawag sa chess. Dapat may pattern recognition, kayo recognize patterns. Di ba? So that you can make sense of things. Like yan. Di ba? Itong requisites of due process, substantive due process, parang, parang police power din. Di ba? Reasonable, no? Not unduly oppressive. Ayun, no? Dalawa yun, no? Dalawa agad out of the six requisites yun. O ito namang isa, ganun din. Police power at saka strict scrutiny. So kayo na bahala. Alam niyo yung ibig ko sabihin. Okay, basahin niyo na lang yung dalawang yung dalawa pang requisites na to, no? Okay. Actually, kulang to. Titingnan ko nga yung Spark versus QC, yung intermediate scrutiny test. Hindi lang ganyan kaiksi yan eh. If my memory serves me right. Pero tingnan na din natin para sure tayo. Okay? Hmm, may tawag dito eh. Ito yung tinatawag na ano eh. May another term for this one. Wait lang, I need to check this. Okay, may mga kaso pala na ganito lang siya kaigsi, no? May mga kaso din naman na mahaba. Ang tawag sa kanya, O'Brien test. Pero yung O'Brien test more on sa ano siya eh, freedom of expression. We will just tackle that later on, no? Ito yun eh. If yan yun, no? Ito yung mahaba, no? Yung O'Brien test na yan, also called as the intermediate scrutiny test, to. So, ilalagay ko na lang to sa ano, sa freedom of expression na topic. Ito na lang tayo. Pag tinanong kayo for the bar, explain the three tests of judicial scrutiny. O yan, yan ang sagot nyo na lang dapat. Wag niyo ganun kahaba. Sasagot nyo yung mga nakasulat na ano na yan, no? Requisites. Plus, when does each test apply? Like yan, it applies if it interferes with fundamental rights and suspect classes and so on. Okay, sige. Let's move to the next topic, no? Sa procedural due process tayo.